What's up, nerds? So I finished the Penguin, the penultimate episode of this show, and it was pretty good. I mean, it started out hardcore. I'll just tell you that right now. I'm impressed with the show in terms of its writing and acting. Again, I said this the last time. I'm going into this not as a DC Penguin show. I'm going into this as a Sopranos light show kind of thing. But I did like this episode, and I just realized that the Penguin, he might be just a complete monster. Yeah, what he did at the beginning, I mean, is just like, I'm sorry, unforgivable in my opinion. But what are you gonna do? Stuff, shit happens, right? I'm going to get into this breakdown and just, explain my thoughts on it and everything. Yeah, I just want to say that I did like this episode. I do like this show. It's just not, I just don't see, I just feel like people don't think this is must watch TV. And I can't blame them because it's like, I feel like it's not what I expected. You know what I'm saying? Like I expected a Batman TV, and Batman's not going to show up according to all the influencers that have reviewed this show already. And I think that will be a misstep if that's true, which I do think it is true. All right, let me get into this breakdown and I'll tell you my thoughts during and then at the end. All right, here we go. So as Oz is a child, right? He is resentful of the attention that his mother gives to his brothers, Jackie and Ben, both older and younger. So after a game of hide and seek, flashlight hide and seek, in the subway tunnels or whatnot, Oz leaves his brothers trapped inside an overflow sewer tunnel where they drown. So during this flashback, we see him and his brothers, they're like interacting and everything, and his brothers are very goofy, very like, and his mother, I mean, I didn't see, he was jealous, but I didn't see his mother not giving him attention. Like she sat there and talked to him, she gave him attention, and then when the other brothers came in, she gave them attention also. I don't think that she was playing favorites, but I think that Oz for some odd reason saw that. And I mean, granted, he's a child, but I don't understand why he would just automatically go to, she's giving my brothers more attention. I mean, maybe I do, because he's a child. But when he closed that door, I knew something bad was happening. I mean, and right off the bat, as soon as he kept looking out the window, he should have known something was going on, and he should have said something to his mother, because obviously with his leg, he might not have been able to get there in time. But if he would have just spoke up, he would have been able to get them out and everything. I think they would, but obviously he didn't, because they died. And when he said it makes sense when he said to Vic back, he's like, the waters of Gotham, washed him away or whatnot. When he asked about his brothers, he meant like the sewer, and then we find out later what killed his brothers saves his life later on. So in the present day, Oz returns to his apartment and finds an injured Vic, who reveals that Sophia has kidnapped Frances, his mother. And then he has Vic escape right before Maroni arrives with his men, and Maroni beats Oz. So they capture Oswald, and they beat the shit out of him, or at least Maroni does, with his own golf club. And he's like, I never liked the game, but I'm starting to like it now, or something like that. I can't remember off the top of my head. And they're like, you can't kill him. And he's like, all the things we're gonna do to you. And he calls Sophia and everything, tells her he's got him. And I thought, in all honesty, I didn't feel bad for Oz, because he burnt this man's wife and son alive. So I didn't feel bad for Oz, not one bit. And I don't think that we're supposed to feel bad for Oz. I don't think that he's an anti-hero. He's just a douchebag. And he happens to be the main character of our story. So it'll be, again, I find it very interesting just how they're portraying him as a monster, but yet we're supposed to connect with him. It's very interesting. I'm interested to see what they do in the final episode. So Maroni has Oz take him to his underground lair, right? And Oz and his men, they stage an ambush, because Maroni only brought like 3 guys and everything. And Maroni ends up dying of a heart attack while fighting Oz. So Maroni, he like gets Oz like off in that little train car, and he's fighting him, and then all of a sudden he just stops because he's starting to have a heart attack. And Oz is all like, "What? You don't want to fight now?" I'm like, "No, fucker. Nobody wants to do anything when they're having a heart attack. They just, they're just planning on dying." And he's like, but he says his last words to Maroni are, "I beat you. Yeah, and just remember, I beat you." And I'm all like, yeah, but barely. I mean, like, you only beat him because of his own weakness, not because of your strength, fucker. I mean, like, I'm sorry, but if he hadn't had a heart attack, I honestly feel like he would have kicked your ass and killed you. I'm sorry, he would have killed you. So meanwhile, while all this is going down, Sophia has Rush interrogate Francis about Oz's weaknesses, and then visits Gia after learning she intends to cooperate with the police. So while all this is going down, right, Sophia is back at her mansion, and she's talking to Francis, and she realizes Francis has got dementia. But she then she then has Rush talk to Francis to try to get information out of her. And I think she's going to find out that Penguin killed his brothers. Maybe unintentionally. I don't know. I feel like originally it was unintentionally, but then him not saying anything meant that he did not care about his brothers and what happened to them, which is so sad. But so she's going to find out, and I think she's going to reveal to Francis that Penguin killed his brothers, and that's just going to send her off the deep end and everything. I'm interested to see that reaction. So Gia, the little girl that she saved before, she goes to visit her because she says she's going to cooperate with the police because she saw something. What she saw was that Sophia had a mask in her bag, and she asked, "Did you kill my mom and my dad?" And she's like, "I loved your mom and your dad." And then she says, "No one in that household was a good person, and you are going to be better off without them." Now that I don't know about. I don't know about that. That's kind of shitty, advice or whatnot that Sophia gives to Gia. But at the same time, what are you going to do? Sophia was, betrayed by these people. So I get it. Disillusioned after seeing the pain she has caused Gia, Sophia considers accepting Oz's ultimatum to trade Francis for his bliss supply. But Rush convinces her to go through with her desire to see Oz suffer. So all this is going on. I think Rush is I think something's going on. Like, he's playing Sophia, which is very interesting to see also. But at the same time, I'm down for it. I'm ready to watch all this go on. And so he convinces her not to do the trade. But instead, he wants her to inflict pain onto Oswald, which, if you remember from the last episode, he was getting pain inflicted on himself by her. So I think that he gets off maybe on seeing other people suffer and maybe even himself suffer. So again, I'm interested to see what the big reveal is with him. Cause I mean, like, I don't know what they're going to do with him, but let's see what happens. So during the trade, Sophia sends a bomb that destroys Oz's base and kills his entire crew. But Oz survives and resurfaces, only to be knocked out by the detective that Sophia had bribed earlier to kidnap Ervad. So if you remember, okay, so first off, Sophia, he opens up the gate, and the black van comes in, and he's all like, "You might as well get out because there's no way going out. We got you locked in and everything." And she calls him on the phone, and she's all like, "Listen," she's like, I'm coming. I'm coming for you. I'm going to make sure you suffer. And if you survive what happens next, I can't wait to have that conversation." She says, "Come look for me," or some crap like that. I can't remember exactly what she says, but it was good. I was like, ooh, Sophia's playing the game, and I love it. And then this big bomb well, she's like, "You still have time to get out, right?" So he gets in to the sewer tunnel that he trapped his brothers in, and they died in. And before, when he was a kid, he says something like, it's I can't get down this ladder. And then the bomb explodes and he just falls. And I'm all like, well, it's not that hard, fucker. And he ends up surviving. It blows a big hole in the freaking street. I was like, Jesus. And so that happens, and all of his crew die except for him. And he gets out on the street, and then that detective guy or former detective. I can't remember what he is. He's all like, Oswald, you survived. Oh, Penguin, you survived. He's like, what'd you call me? And he's like, thum, thum, thum. Sophia wants to see you, fucker. And I was like, that's interesting. And then the final scene, I didn't mention this before with the flashbacks because I want to talk about it now. And that's the end of the episode, by the way. He gets kidnapped for Sophia, and she takes. Okay, so the final scene is Sophia takes his mom to Maroni's club or Marone's or something like that. I can't remember what the name of the club is. And we see this flashback where he takes his mom food after his brothers have been killed. And she gets all dressed up and she's like, I need a night out. You know, I need to have a good time or something like that. And everything. And I get that. And so she takes him to that club and she's dancing with him. And she says, you know, I need to, you know, I do something along the lines of, I deserve a better life. I deserve a better life. And can you give it to me, Oswald? And he says, you know, he's like, you deserve the best, Ma, and I'm not going to stop until I get it for you, or something along those lines. I can't remember exactly the words, but anyways. And I just want to say that is so, I don't think that Frances is a good mother. And maybe it's because her two sons died that she kind of flipped a switch, but that is so much to put on a kid. What is he, 12, 10 to 12? That is so much to put on a child. So much. In fact, it's too much. Because then, you know, he's went down this path. And you could see it from the beginning. Like he idolized a gangster, and his brothers didn't, especially his older brother. But he idolized a gangster. And I really, like, the whole time I was just like, you know, Oswald, you know, maybe he didn't, maybe if his mother had stuck with the father or whatnot, or, you know, or maybe the father was stuck around, they wouldn't have these problems. But, you know, but I feel, I don't know. As a child, I feel like he was not given a chance, you know, but as an adult, he's still a monster. He's just a monster. I think so. And again, I find it very interesting that we're supposed to connect with him, even though he's not a good person. You know, he's a villain. And we're supposed, I'm so confused because I don't feel bad for him, but I'm like, am I supposed to feel bad for him? It's so interesting. That's the interesting part about this show is like, am I supposed to feel bad for him? I can't, but I keep thinking, should I feel bad for Oswald? It's very interesting. And then I'm very interested to see when, Sophia takes him to that club that moment that he had with his mom, where he promised to give her the world. And it'll be interesting to see if his mother turns on him when it's revealed that he killed his brothers, that he locked them in that overflow sewer tunnel, and they drown because of him. And yeah, and it was a good penultimate episode. I'm not going to lie. I'm very interested to see that. I'm telling you right now, I don't think Batman's going to show up, and it is a mistake on this show's part, because I think one of the biggest problems, and I'll mention this in the finale one, the biggest problem with this show is that it does not have Easter eggs, or not enough. It needs more. It should have had more. The writers of this show should have known better, and they didn't. And I think that that's a big mistake on their part. Okay, well, that's all I got for you guys on this episode and everything, and breaking it down. But I do enjoy the show. I just really wish it leaned more into comic book territory. Not every single project of Batman has to be gritty and so realistic. It can have a little bit of that comic book element to it. And I think that that's what this show in particular, and the Batman, is really missing, that comic book element that it really needs. I mean, you can make it as realistic as you want, but it really needs to really hit home with that comic book element. But yeah, but tell me what you guys thought about this episode. Did you like it? Did you not like it? What do you think at the beginning, you know, with Oswald and everything? I mean, this show went fucking hard. They were like, we're gonna give it to you hard, no lube and everything. And you're just like, oh shit. And very dark and everything. So, all right, well, tell me what you guys thought about this. Go ahead and leave all your comments in that section down below. If you like this video, go and hit the like button. You know, I won't mind. If you're to my channel, please hit that subscribe button. I'd greatly appreciate it. And we'll see you guys next week on the finale of Penguin. You guys have a good week. Bye.